Well, hello, hot stuff. I hope you have had a magical morning, a magical weekend, and you're doing something fun for you today. Winter has hit Melbourne, and I am rugged up. I'm not going to lie. I am loving it. I love a coat. I love when I can just feel mysterious, and that's how I feel today. If the sun could stay out, I think I would be a bit happier, but I'm not complaining. We're inside. We got a fresh week, fresh podcast episode. Let's fuck some shit up. I have been teaching a whole heap of workshops recently, which I have loved. In case you missed the memo, I have gone back to my business archives. We are remastering so many of my live trainings, and by so many, 9, and I'm reteaching them. So you've got 9 90-minute workshops. 2 of them are available. If you want the video version, head to YouTube. If you want the audio version, head to the podcast. And there are worksheets for every single one of them because I am just good like that. But one thing that I am doing with these workshops is post-workshop, I'm going and contacting every single person and getting their feedback, checking in, seeing if they have any questions, pitching if it's like an offer that I think would be really good for them, and of course letting them know for the next workshops. And it's really interesting that I feel sometimes that we can fall into a funk within our own business. This has been really evident with the feedback that I've been getting from these workshops. It's so interesting how it's like from the outside, we can look at what someone does and think that it's so cool and awesome, and we can see how they're so different. But it's like when it's you, it's sometimes so hard to see how you are different to what feels like everyone else in your industry that feels like that they're doing the same thing. It's like I'm a business consultant, business coach, and how many fucking business coaches are there in the world? There's so many. I've never fallen into the trap of feeling like, oh, why am I doing this? Because there's so many other people, because I know what I bring to the table. And I think that there are so many people that don't actually realize what they bring to the business table. And it's interesting getting the feedback from the people that have come to these events who are like, oh my gosh, you've sparked me with so many different ideas. I realize that I'm different. And like, thank you so much. I think sometimes we can get into this rut, especially if we are so drilled into what everyone else is doing and we are like pinpointing why they are awesome. But it's really interesting that we never do this for ourselves. Isn't that wild? Like, think about the amount of times that you will look at what your competitor is doing or someone that you look up to, and you will almost like analyze every little detail and what's working. You'll probably gloss over like stuff that's not so great, and you are continually looking for evidence of why they're just doing something really awesome. And it's like, do we ever really do that for ourselves? And the answer is no. We are the hardest on ourselves. And where we have to flip this is it's like when we are in business and entrepreneurship, you are going to go through stages where it feels like that, no one really cares. It's so funny that I say this because this has been like a recurring thought that I often have. It's like no one gives a shit about what I'm doing. And it's interesting because this is why for me, I'm like, well, I have to be so obsessed with what I'm doing that I don't really care if at the moment it feels like no one is paying attention, because I know that if I feel obsessed, then everyone else is going to buy in on that energy, and then the right people are going to find me, right? So this has been kind of a process that I have done, and it's something that I have to commit to every single fucking day, where it is reminding myself what I actually bring to the table in business, how I am valuable, and continually remembering that. And what I want to say too, because I don't think a lot of people do this, I think in Australia we have tall poppy. And there is a lot of almost like coming together in business land to bitch. I know this has been my gripe sometimes and why I am conscious of the networking events I go to, because it can kind of be like this big trauma dump about talking about why stuff isn't working well and how business is really hard, and like kind of fantasizing about getting a job. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't talk about that. You absolutely should. But it's really interesting that a lot of the time when people come together to actually chat about business, it's not ever talking about here is why you're awesome and here is why you're incredible. It's kind of like sharing battle wounds and bonding over them together. But I think that if we as a collective came together and talked about how we're fucking awesome, and kind of even like if we know this, but just reminding us of what we know, which is why I will always tell people your branding is incredible. I love how you've done this. Your pictures are awesome. So one of the most powerful things that you can do Maybe this is just writing a list of everything that you actually bring to the business table and forget about all the other fucking bitches for a second, right? I don't fucking care. I do not care about your competitor. If it helps you to realize why you're better than them, sure, bring them in. But right now, let's just like forget about them. And it's interesting the amount of times that I will see people continually put their power outside of themselves because they stop focusing on what they're doing and they look at someone else, and we try to almost be them and emulate them. And I think this is so unconscious and easy it is to kind of fall into these traps of feeling like that what we're doing is not really important and that we don't have this like special and unique take because we're so much comparing ourselves to other people in the industry. And what is cool, right, is when you remember who the fuck you are, what you bring to the table, is it doesn't matter if you are not getting the results that you want, that remains unchanged. And it is interesting that I see so many people like they will determine their next steps and their belief is based on the results that they are getting, which is wild, right? They're like, well, I am a good writer because I am fully booked. Or it's like there could be so many circumstances that happen that make you fully booked or not fully booked. It could be the fact that you just are not great at sales because you don't do them. But what we want to remember is that that remains unchanged, whether we are getting the results, whether we are not getting the results. That is part of you. So it's like for me, I have so many random stories. I have so many anecdotes. I am experienced enough that I can explain concepts to anyone and I can have them understand it. I can have so many different analogies and examples. And it doesn't matter if I have all the clients in the world, if I have no clients, that like remains unchanged. Like that is what I bring to the table. And a lot of us, again, determine our success based on the results that we want. And then we automatically will like throw out the window everything that we're good at and what we actually bring to the table because we're like, well, that mustn't work because it's not getting me the results that I want. Sometimes it's just like that. I had 3 months at the end of last year where I had no clients. I was like the quietest little fucking baddie ever. There was nothing, like I had no clients. They all got pregnant or they moved countries, or I had someone that was like, I want to work with you. And then she's like, I don't want to work with you. And I'm like, okay, cool. This is fun. That just happens sometimes, right? I want to say too that for some of you, this is going to be potentially a little hard and you're going to really struggle and you're going to be like, well, I don't know what I bring to the table. You need to be so conscious that you are actually committed to discovering what you bring to the table instead of this little fucking drama loop that you're on. Oh, I don't know. I can't think. Like, just get over it, right? Get over it. Like, you bring so much to the table. So your brain's a little funky, shake it the fuck off, go for a walk around the block, and just think about all of the random things that you do. You may be like, well, I look really cute on Zoom. Great, start there. You could be like, every time I smile, someone smiles back. Great, start there. Like, come up with just a random little list of things about how you make someone's life better, how you make their business better. And you have to fucking remember that. Because in days in business, when stuff is just not going your way, if you have a launch that's not going your way, or you have something and it's just not giving you the results that you want, if you remember who the fuck you are, you remember what you're here to do, the bad days just all of a sudden aren't that bad. Because the only thing that is bad is that you are just not getting the results that you want. That's it. That is the only thing that is bad. You haven't changed. You haven't lost anything. You are not less than. It is just the one small thing, right? Let's remember that. It's one small thing. How you help people hasn't changed. All of the work that you've done, your body of work, your intellectual property, that hasn't changed. It's just the results. So the sooner that you actually identify all of this and you remember it, you can have the worst cash and sales week ever. And it's not really going to matter too much because if we think about that in the grand schemes of everything, it's like, that's really nothing. I think this is why I can be having the worst week ever. And at the start of the year, I had to refund someone and I made this decision to do it myself. I had to refund several thousands of dollars. And we then had a quieter month that month. And this felt like a bit of a blow. It felt like a punch in the face, but it was fine. And I think the reason that I was fine, and no one knew, right? You don't know if I'm having the best week ever or the worst week ever, is because I don't need cash money to tell me that I am good. Because I have so much evidence with everything that I do and my thoughts that I believe and the things that I tell myself that cash is just the cherry on top. Yes, this is what we're working towards, but I don't need someone paying me to know that I am good at what I do. I already have that worked out. I remember that every fucking day. And let me tell you, that business gets so much easier when you actually remember this and you remind yourself. So, what you can do here is start to just collect evidence, whatever that is, because the results that you want, your future self will be so grateful for you doing this now and working this out now. Because the sooner you do this, the sooner that your future self is actually able to reap the rewards of this, right? Because imagine this, let's set a scene. Imagine you go to the effort and you do a launch and it does not do well. Imagine if you have no evidence, you are relying on the evidence that you are good at what you do and you should be in business by the results that you want from the launch. Let's pretend you want to make 50 grand and you are relying on that for you to keep going, right? What happens if you timeline this out on a month-long launch and day 3 you have no sales? Guess what's going to happen, baby girl? You're going to sabotage the rest of that launch. I don't care what anyone says. Like, if you are relying on sales to keep you going and for that to kind of like validate you as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a real fucking mythical baddie that's incredible at what you do, like on day 3 when you get no sales, you're probably going to forget who you are. And it's going to be really easy for you to switch into gears of like doom and gloom. We don't want to do that. But imagine if you remember why you are incredible, how you are here to change the world, how no one does it like you, how as soon as you walk into a room, everyone's day just gets a little bit better, how people regularly tell you that they are so impacted by the work that you do that you can easily go back and repurpose something you did 5 years ago and then repost it now, because what you do is so timeless, it's so good, it's so incredible. The sooner you remember all of that and the sooner that you realize how I've already won, because so many people do not have access to this brain or this energy or this aura of mine. Day 3, no sales in that launch, you're not going to fucking care. You may be like, I would like a sale, I want to celebrate, but you're not going to want to give it up, because the thing is, you've won already in so many different ways. The cash will come. You know it will come because you know who you are. You know that you're incredible. You know that you've been working on this for ages and no one has the heart or the brain or like your energy, whatever it is. You've already won. So the sooner that you can work out what the fuck you bring to the table and why you're awesome, you are going to have so much more staying power in business. You are going to remain more neutral. Like, how cool is that? You want a calm nervous system? Well, the thing is, remember everything that you have working for you. I would be in fight or flight too if I needed a sale to kind of keep me going. Not that I play video games, but I imagine it's like a little video game where if you don't collect coins, you're going to die. You're like, there's no video games like that. I don't know. I don't know how they work. I was an only child in an advertising family. We went to wine bars and brunches. So I'm very good with a menu, not so great with a video game. But you don't want the people paying you to kind of pep you up for you to keep going in business. We want that to happen by remembering who the fuck you are and what you bring to the table. Hot stuff, you are incredible. The sooner that you recognize that and you remember that, you are going to fucking win, because no bitch can compete. And let me tell you, no bitch can compete when everyone is so busy hating themselves. You just need to love yourself and everyone is going to be like, I want whatever the fuck she is wearing and what she is doing. Your business will benefit. Trust me. Hot stuff. I love this. I love you. I love you more than everyone that's coming to my beautiful events, all of the praise. Can I actually ask you for a favor as well while we're here? I know that so many of you have rated the podcast, which I'm obsessed with, but I feel that my Google reviews are not a true representation of how epic I am. So if you go to like Professional Babe and like reviews, or maybe Professional Babe Melbourne, can you please leave a Google review? Actually, why am I saying this? I'll pop a link at the bottom and just say that you listen to the podcast and you love the podcast. I would be so fucking grateful. So I love you more than that. I love you more than my beautiful coat. I have a point credit card with work and never get one. Like, you think that you're going to spend like $200 and you're going to get like $10 worth of points. It doesn't happen. This coat, do you know how much money I had to spend on the work credit card to get this coat? This coat wasn't even that expensive. I'm going to tell you how much I had to spend. I had to spend $71,000 on the work credit card to get this for free with points. And guess how much it cost? It cost $300. It's kind of insane. It's insane. That being said though, like, I love the warmer weather because I am a huge fan of getting my tits out, but I love a fur coat. I feel just dressed up and it's not real. but it's just lush. It's funny because someone I posted on TikTok earlier and they're like mob wife aesthetic. I'm like, oh baby girl, I've been dressing like this since I was fresh out of the womb. A little fetus in a fur coat, basically. So I love you more than that. I love you more than, oh my gosh, fresh flowers. Fresh flowers make a home. I walked up to the market before and I got some beautiful, did I get pink? I got some pink oriental lilies. If you get lilies, get the orientals because they are just beautiful. The only thing is I'm pretty sure they're toxic to pets. So we've got some of those in the house and I've got some like purple tulips, which I love. If you are in Melbourne, I get my fresh flowers from Toscano's. They're just beautiful. So I love you more than that. And I love you more than my hair actually looks really shiny at the moment. It's a good hair week. It is a good hair week. I had oh my gosh, pause. In 2023, I had like all of this shit happen with like where I was living, all this crap. You don't need to get into that. There is a podcast episode on this. I think it's called My Business Bought Me a Home. And my hair was like falling out and then snapping off. And it's been a real journey. I had to take it really short, which I wasn't happy about. And it finally feels like it's growing back and it's really lush. And I just feel great. I feel good. I feel we love a good hair day. We love a good hair mood. So hottie. I love you more than that. And I love you more than, oh my gosh, the latest Gucci collection. What is it? The Gucci Resort 2026 collection. Holy fucking shit. It is absolutely gorgeous. And of course I love it because there's so many, like there's fur, there's sunglasses. I was looking at everything and I was like, I just need all of this in my wardrobe. If you haven't already, give it a little bit of a look. Some of you are going to be like, I don't get it. Remember when we look at fashion babes, we don't look at how everything is styled together on the runway. We look at elements and we're like, how can I integrate that in my existing wardrobe? We're not looking at how everything is put together. We're looking at how is that coat going to work with what I have? How are these shoes and that belt going to work with this outfit? So it's not about taking that whole runway look and putting it on your body. It's about taking elements, baby girl, and adding it into what you have. Peter Sarah's fashion tip of the day. You are welcome. And with that, let's leave it here. I love this. I love you. And I'll see you on the next episode. Mwah.